What the hell? Hey everyone, back here again with a live stream. Why am I doing a live stream? Why? Because it's Labor Day weekend. It's drizzly. Can't do much right now. I had some plans. The weather's not really gonna help me. So what do I do when I have some downtime? I draw and I sketch. So one of the things I've been doing is I've been putting some sketches together for some people that have recently purchased some stuff from me as far as comics are concerned. Other people I promised comics to that I like throw little surprises into to everybody. So I figured, let me show you guys my process. Right now, I am actually in the process of actually doing something for somebody that recently bought a Lobo 1 from me. And Lobo is one of my favorite characters. Absolutely one of my favorite characters of all time. Can't get enough Lobo. I think I'm in the minority. I don't know why. He's such a great character. He really is such a great character. I don't know why he doesn't get more love. But because they got a Lobo 1 for me, I am going to draw them out a Lobo, and in my own personal take on him. And person that I'm doing it for, hey Six Face, how you doing? How you doing, Comic Problem Me? Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I appreciate you sharing the link. So what I was saying is, one of the guys that I'm doing this for, it actually just opened up a comic shop and has been using Lobo as one of their signature characters on their walls and that kind of stuff. So normally I would do a standard size 8x11 kind of situation drawing. This time I'm going to do something that's 11x17 on cardstock. That way if they want to do something with it, they'll be able to. And never used this medium before, and I can tell right now it's not an easy medium to use. So hey, it is what it is. And now you kind of could see a little bit of my process of how I put these things together. And I figured while I'm doing this, I'll share some of my thoughts. Thank you, Six Face. Thank you. Lobo is great. Not only is he great, he's awesome. I love Lobo. I really do. So I'm going to try to do my own take on that Lobo cover. Let's see what I come up with. This definitely not the easiest kind of medium. It definitely is not. Anybody listening see Shang-Chi yet? I actually just saw that last night with my son. And I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't go in with high expectations. I thought Shang-Chi might have been a little too off. I love kung fu movies. I thought they were made it too fantastical, which there was a real fantastical element to it. But I enjoyed it. I really did. Didn't know like how much to expect from it, but I got definitely good vibe from it. I enjoyed it. You know, probably something I'd rewatch when it goes on, you know, TV or streaming. It's good watch, definitely good watch, and Marvel did a great job with that one. They did. Now, as you could see, I don't know how well it comes off. This is how I kind of start myself off. You know, you start in rough shapes. A lot of people draw cleaner than I do. I'm not a professional. Not by any means necessary am I a professional, but I know the basics of drawing, and it starts to you start by going to see Free Guy this weekend. What's Free Guy? Hey, Six Face. What's Free Guy? I didn't even see that. What's Free Guy? Is that another movie? What's that about? But one of the things that is essential is to get the basic shapes down. You know, so I start. You know, your basic drawing concept. The Ryan Reynolds movie. That's right, the Free Guy. I forgot what the name of that was. That seems interesting too. That seems really interesting. But I was gonna pick one movie this weekend, and that actually that's a good that should be a really good watch. Free Guy. I'm gonna add that to my bucket list. We'll see what else I get to in my bucket list. There's like so many movies out there that love to see. Ryan plays an NFC that wakes up in a game. Yeah, I know a little bit of the premise of the Free Guy, and it seems real interesting, really interesting. I saw some of the teasers, the trailers for it. Definitely, especially now with this whole NFT craze, it's perfect timing for that, something like that. Perfect timing, actually. So, like I was saying, one of the things that you want to do is put together the basic elements of the drawing. So I got the structure roughly in a head shape. You draw crosses and lines to give it a symmetrical kind of feel. So that way, the eyes are not too far away from each other. The nose is centered, the mouth is centered. And then once you get those elements together, then you could actually um, put together a better concept, but it comes down to the fundamentals, and it comes down to actual legitimate structure of how to be able to get everything to be as symmetrical and as proportionate as possible. It's really important to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have a ton of people telling you how horrible your understanding of human anatomy is. And one of the things that's the toughest thing to do with human anatomy is the faces and the head, to get all that um, you know emotion and all those little lines and everything that's in place there to be able to um, make it look correct. So as I'm going through this now, it's really hard. By the way, this is actually I'm a lot of times when I do these videos, I'm holding my phone and trying to do this with one hand. This is the first time I'm doing this while I'm doing this live and actually have full function of my hands. The only problem is the way I'm angled to the camera is I have it at an awkward angle, And I might have to sometimes just do this in order to get a better understanding of what I'm looking at, because it's really hard to draw this way. But, I'll try to do it, and hopefully it reflects well. So, like I said, I was doing this for somebody that recently bought a Global One for me. And if the person that got it is watching now or in the replay, they'll probably know who they are. And maybe the surprise will be a little ruined for them by seeing this. But that's only if they will actually watch. I don't think they watch all the time. They're busy. So I'm taking a gamble. But yeah, I'm putting that uh, new free guy on my list of watches. I think that's a good one to watch. Definitely think that's a good one to watch. So, you know, I got a little bit heat recently for a couple of videos I made in regards to the whole LCS thing that happened with the awards, comic book community awards, and I don't care. You know, I said what I had to say. Some people agree with me. Some people didn't agree with me. It is what it is. I'm not. I'm not taking back what I said. I think what I said was from the heart. I have good intentions from what I said. I think somebody, and many people needed to come to Brian's side and help him, because everybody was really, really giving the crap, the shitstorm, whatever you want to call it, to him, which was not cool. Not cool at all. So as you can see, everything's starting to come together now, little by little. You know, I made the signature big eye slant, smaller eye thing from that Simon Beasley cover. Again, this is, don't get me wrong, this is not going to look anything like the Simon Beasley rendition. I'm not that good, not even close, not even close by a mile. But what I'm going to do is give my own spin, my own style, my own taste, and use that cover to homage. And like I said, the face is probably one of the most detailed and attention driven parts of the anatomy, and the head, um, as far as putting together a solid sketch and a drawing. See what I'm doing right now? I'm just sketching out layers. You missed people crapping on Brian? Ryan? Do you mean Ryan or Brian, Six Face? Not sure if you're talking about Brian or Ryan Reynolds. If you talk about Brian from LLC, what you have to do is go check that pressable defects thing that happened a few days ago, and all the people in the chat crapping on him, and then continuing through social media. That's what you're referring to. Now, if you're talking about Ryan Reynolds being crapped on, I don't know. No, I meant Brian. Brian from LCS. He's got another channel. He's the guy that actually put together the Comic Community Awards. And basically, people didn't really like the results that they saw from the nominations and decided to get all nuts about it. And it's not cool, you know. It was a voted thing. It wasn't like the guy picked out the names himself. I'm sure if he picked out the names himself, he would have picked stuff that's more, towards what he likes. Matt blocked me after I called him out on gaslighting me. I saw the he scratched out pressable defects. Well, the butcher actually responded to me on my comments, and he didn't block me. At least that's not what I think yet. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't think he did. He did respond. He got angry in the beginning, but it looks like he's a little bit being more reasonable about it. And I don't agree with his approach, and I don't agree with his his opinion. But we don't have to agree. We could agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, he was a little bit more approachable and kind of understood where I was coming from as well. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. That's to be continued. That really is a to be continued. We'll see where that goes. But you know what? The comic community awards are still happening. I think they got more attention than ever, which is a really good thing. And this year will be the basis to build for many years moving forward. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. So I don't know. Oh, you used to live in Connecticut? Where do you live now, Six Face? I actually live in New York. You're still on the East Coast? Seattle. Wow, that's a jump from Connecticut to Seattle. How you like it there? Big change of pace? I've never been to Seattle. I've never been to a lot of parts of the West Coast. Actually, that's one of the things I really want to do. I'm waiting for my kids to get a little older so we could travel more and really experience that whole side of the country. I did a lot of my traveling when I was still single. New England was too wound up. You know what? I can't disagree with you on that. I can't disagree with you on that. No, I don't want to get political. But yes, it is very wound up over here. It is definitely wound up. How long ago did you move from Connecticut to Seattle? I'm sure it's amazing. I mean, just from the videos and the pictures and everything that I seen of the Pacific Northwest, it looks amazing. It definitely does look amazing. It's beautiful over there. Whole different world altogether. So as you can see, it's starting slowly starting to come together. You grew up in Tennessee. Wow, Tennessee to Connecticut only for 2, 3 months, 4 months. Wait, 4 months ago you left? So you were part of the whole escape facet of people. Because we're having a lot of that here in New York. A lot of people left the state, went to South, went to West, went to Midwest. A lot of people left and went to Florida, Texas, the Carolinas, even Virginia. Didn't hear too many people going to Seattle. So that was a bold move, especially with all the stuff that was going on that past year in Seattle. It's still a beautiful area, but there was so much stuff going on as far as turmoil, controversy, riots, and this and that. You will never move back to the South. Back to the South. Was that bad? Six Face? I can't really, I've never lived in the South. I've visited many places in the South, so I kind of have my own personal opinion of what it's all about. But I've never actually lived there for any extended period of time other than visiting or for business reasons. So I don't hear that many people tell me that they wouldn't move back. Curious to see what your thoughts are, or why you actually didn't like it and wouldn't move back. I could see for business reasons. The people were sick. Well, unfortunately, I'm seeing sick people everywhere. I don't know if it's concentrated in only one area. There's a lot of sick stuff going on right now. A lot of people are demented. A lot of people have problems. They want to make their problems your problems, which kind of sucks. But whatever, This has been a challenging couple of years, to say the least. Not that it wasn't always challenging, but these past couple of years have been really, really challenging with all the stuff we've been dealing with. Really has. That actually puts you. It's a backwater town. I get it. All right. So I get it. It was hard to get ahead there, to have opportunity. That makes sense. There's a lot of poverty down there. That's not really talked about too much. But yeah, there is a lot of poverty down there, and I could that element I could definitely understand. I watched gay friends be harassed to the point that they almost kill themselves. Six Face, I'm gonna tell you something. You get that everywhere. As civilized and as I want to say enlightened that people pretend that they want to be here in like places like New York, you get a lot that here too. Unfortunately, it's just not as publicized as in some of the other places. People shouldn't bother anybody. Like I always looked at that I never understood that. Somebody wants to be gay, be gay. Oh, why am I gonna give them crap about it? They're the ones that are living in like that. They like it, so let them live like that. You do not get that everywhere. You're probably right. I don't know. Like I said, I never lived in the South. I never lived in the South, so I could only go off of what people have told me and what I see in the news, which news sucks. But I never understood. But what I will say is, in places like I could talk of New York because I've lived in New York. I lived in the city. I lived in the suburbs. I lived in the outskirts, um, and everything in between. And I will say this much: yes, it's a little bit more accepting, a little bit, but not necessarily fully accepted. Because I see a lot of stuff that that it's not really like you know out there, and a lot of people have been put in a position where they feel shunned. A lot of people, I know a lot of people that I know them personally because they're my friends, and I know they're gay, but they won't publicly go out there, and they live they live the closeted life, and that's to each their own. I can't tell anybody how to live their lives, but they personally feel that they would lose a lot by going out there, and that's the only point I'm trying to make is that although some places it's a lot more focused on, and in a lot of places it's a lot more um, you know ostracizing of people that are gay. It happens in other places as well, just not as blatant and not as in your face, which is sad. It shouldn't happen anywhere. Like I said, everybody should have the right to live their lives any way they want. Who am I to judge anybody? We all got our own problems. And if people want to live the way they want to live, they should. I never understood that. I never understood that. You know, just like with a lot of people, with the racism, I never understood why people, you know, segment people for one reason or another. Every I feel like every single culture at one point or another was discriminated against, regardless of what race, creed, or color they are. Um, and I don't understand how people could forget. Like you have like the Italian community when they first came to this country, they were being discriminated against. As lower class citizens. I'm Greek. My culture, my people, when they first came here, they were they were discriminated against. They were considered sub level. Uh, whether you're Mexican, whether you're Italian, whether you're Irish. Irish were second class citizens for years upon years, and then with time, these type of scenarios, they start to fade away, and people start to not focus on them, and they find a new target, a new audience to go after and discriminate against. And I never understood it. And then you get some of the people that were previously discriminated against that join as the discriminators, which I don't get that. I don't get that. You just fought so hard to um, get yourself ahead and to be accepted the way you want to be, and now you're doing the same thing to another culture or another race or another sexuality or whatever it just it never made any sense to me. It never made any sense to me. you know I would say this: we're all human beings. you know You can not like a specific person for one reason or another. You know, if they cause you a problem. Yeah, Six Face. I don't think it ever stopped. I don't think, and I never understood that. I really never understood that, and you know, it makes no sense to me. You know, they were a culture, race culture. I don't know what the most specific best way to say to cover the entire black population by is culture, race, because it's both. And they would discriminate for so many years. They were under slavery for so many years. And you have people that are piling up on them. No other group was bought and sold in the US. I think the only other group that you could probably lump into having a raw deal as much or just about as much as the black African culture that was brought over here as slaves was probably maybe the native people that were here. What you want to call them, Native Americans or Indians, whatever the proper way to describe them, so you can understand who I'm talking about. They got slaughtered and they got all their land taken away and they got hurled into Greek, Italians, Greeks, Irish. All their kids were light skinned and were able to integrate into the WASP culture. Not so much. That part of it. See, that's a fact I didn't know. Cherokee owned black slaves and sided with Confederacy in the Civil War. That's an interesting part of history that I didn't know about. I actually have to look into that. It's very interesting. Um, there is some truth into what you said about the Italians, Greek, Irish, and all the kids that are light skinned integrating. Yes, they did integrate a little bit more, but they did stick out a lot more as well. Um, there was a lot of elements that you know people just didn't talk about. You know, they just didn't talk about it. You consider they were when each individual in immigration flood would come in of all these cultures, Italians, Greeks, Irish, Arab. Um, I'm not even touching the Chinese because they went through an entire different scenario altogether in the 1800s that nobody really talks about. You know, they basically were hired as slave labor. They weren't slaves, but they were slave labor. Working on the railroads and really harsh environments, and they got really messed up too. But yes, they were able to integrate. It's true, second generation white kids were American, not African Americans or his. It's true, second generation white kids were American, not African American or Hispanic Americans. Don't really understand 100% that statement. If what I'm understanding is meaning like once they got to the second generation, they were American, but that wasn't really the same for African American or Hispanic Americans. If that's what you're saying, yeah, I tend to agree. Tend to agree with because once the second and third generations of each culture were fully assimilated, yeah, that I could understand. If that's what you're saying, I'm not 100% sure. If that's what you're saying, then I agree with that statement because you're right. That once you had that assimilation process go through, and everybody kind of became the same way, kind of. unless you had, different features. You know, Mediterraneans have a different set of features that often gets. That is what you're saying. Mediterranean people like myself, you see, I'm light skinned, but when the sun gets me, and when I have dark hair, and when the sun gets me, and maybe I leave a little bit of beard or whatever the case is, I start to look like just about a lot of any other Middle Eastern or Mediterranean type of thing. So then I see a different type of feel from public. So it depends, what I'm saying. It depends, but I definitely see what you're saying, and I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying. But what the point I was trying to make is that I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. This is all has been done and said. I blame the English. I blame the English for starting this whole mess here in this country. But hey, that's me. But that being said, it's a very strange, harsh environment that has unnecessarily generated and caused such animosity and such bad vibes throughout the entire country that I don't know how the best way to be able to address it and to really correct it would be. Because the way I look at it right now, in order to correct it 100%, I can't find a solution other than making people be human beings to each other. And that's a problem. We can't put like a little implant in people's heads and say, you act like a human being. You treat the other people like human beings. How do you do that? Some people are bad. Some people are they're very ill-natured. Other people don't know any better. And no matter what you tell them, no matter how you try to educate them, they still don't know any better. It's a really hard thing to deal with. It really is. I don't know. I really don't know what the future is and how to be able to um, address this in the proper way, which kind of is something that you see coming out in comics. A lot of people are finally starting to tackle subjects like this more intensely through the art form of comic books. And maybe little by little, all different mediums start to focus on these things in a different way. It could possibly bring the right focus and kind of like slowly but surely um, bring us to a place where things are accepted, not because they're forced to be accepted, because they're accepted, because that's just how it is. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm not even sure what I'm saying is correct or not correct. But all I'm going to say is that it really is concerning to me. And I don't understand it. I understand why it continues to occur this way. I mean, the caste systems based on skin color go back to biblical times. The Indian caste system is a great example. Well, you know what? The Indian caste system is still alive and well, believe it or not. That's still a thing. That is still actually a thing. People don't realize it because we don't really talk about it that much in this country. But that is a real thing, and the people that are born into that really, unless you're part of the aristocracy, as long if you're not part of the upper echelon, you're getting a raw deal in life, being in that caste system. That's why a lot of people get up and leave and come to countries like this to escape that. And even then, sometimes it continues to follow them here. If they consider to still be part of that culture and that community. It's a really messed up thing, the caste system. At least for me, I don't know. I don't want to be offensive to anybody that believes in it, but because if they love it and they want to be part of that, God bless them. They do whatever they want, but I wouldn't want to be part of that. I definitely wouldn't want to be part of that. Oh, I am aware. I did it work out outsourcing for over a decade. The darker skin tone, older Indian guys always defer to the whitest dude in the room. See, I don't even know what that full element of it is. I know being born into certain caste systems and families and that kind of thing of how it affects it. You probably would know a little bit more about it. And the people that are part of that lifestyle and that life, I don't understand why they stand for it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Especially when you're coming from the point of poverty and you really don't have anything to lose in life. Why do you accept it? Why do you tolerate it? You got nothing to lose in life. Fight it. That's the way I look at it. But you have the religious element that's part of it as well, which religion is the great equalizer. That's the thing that causes a lot of people to take away logic a lot of times and accept things for what they are. And it's not cool because people are basically tortured emotionally, sometimes physically, in these archaic type of mindsets. And I don't know what to say. Can't believe this became into a social type of outlook stream. I didn't think I was going to turn it into that. I thought people would want to hear me talk about drawing comics and ranting about lousy LCS owners. But I got no problem talking about a lot of stuff. That's the one thing that I got no issues with, talking about stuff. You want to talk? I'll talk your ear off. No, I don't mind going deep. I really don't. And I got no issue talking about it as long as there's somebody that's willing to listen. And, the fact that you're willing to listen, I got no problem talking about it. I just, it's just an observation I made. I didn't think I was going to go that route today. You know, my real business of what I work in, real business, my primary job of earning a living is real estate. And you got to see some of the stuff I see on a daily basis in the communities. It doesn't make sense to me, a lot of the stuff. And I know that the states try to do their best to keep everything in line and proper, and making sure that there's no discrimination. I'm going to tell you something. No matter how much they take it and try to implement it, it's still there in a lot of different facets of life. I never understood it. Never understood it. I tell that to people all the time. I don't care. If I'm selling a house to somebody and they're giving me the most money for the place and with the best terms, I'm accepting it. I don't care if they're black, they're white, they're purple, they're turquoise, uh, maroon with a hint of purple sparkles. I don't care. It's a business transaction. I never understood like the mindset of a lot of people. Never got that. But that exists. Don't let people fool you. That does exist on different little elements. And it's not a black and white thing only. It's a cultural thing. Sometimes it's a religious thing. Sometimes it's an everything thing. Sometimes it's a straight gay LGBTQ thing. You know, it's an everything thing. People got problems with everything. And it's weird. I never get it. Looks like I lost Six Face. He got too deep. All right, now I could talk about other stuff. So we talked a little bit of Shang-Chi. I love that movie. I thought it was a really, really fun movie. Saw it in IMAX, which always is a better experience altogether. And let's see. See, this is starting to come together a little bit, just a little bit. Oh, you're back, Six. I thought I lost you. I saw you jump out for the chat. I thought I got too deep for you at that point. Took a dump. The T-Mobile network took a dump. Yeah, added to the rest of these networks. Honestly, the service is getting worse and worse. You know, they talk about 5G and making everything better and this and that. Honestly, I've been seeing it just getting worse and worse over the past couple of years. So I don't know what's going on. I got AT&T, and they're terrible. Verizon is pretty steady in a lot of places, but it's super expensive and it's not great everywhere. This thing is starting slowly starting to come together. Monopolies are bad. Do not get me started on monopolies. You really want to get me triggered? You really want to get me lit up? Start talking to me about monopolies. I'll tell you my 2 cents about monopolies. Because we got way too many of them. We got way too many monopolies out there. And unregulated ones that the government's taking a blind eye to, that doesn't even care that they're really gouging the public. Monopolies. You want to talk about monopolies? Huh. How about the artificial monopoly that CGC has created? That everybody seems that they have to have something CGC graded in order to have an acceptable resale value on their comics. For some reason, all right, PGX did a terrible job as far as for themselves, and maybe one day they'll recover and really um, and really come back out of it. But I don't know if that's ever going to be the case. But my issue with CGC is that everybody seems to think that they're the only credible source out there, and there are other grading companies that are very credible. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting a book graded by CBCS, and you know what? There's a third competitor as well, EGS. They give you a certificate. They give you everything you need, and for some reason, that's not acceptable. It makes no sense. I told you I'm in real estate. Okay. If I got an appraiser I have two different appraisal companies come in and give me two different appraisals on the same house or property, and both of them came up with the same number. Should one valuation be held more in line than the other? Or is it a valid, accredited appraisal by a licensed individual that did it? It's almost the same thing with the grading companies. People don't get that. You know, if they're a certified grader, you know, now quality control, that's one thing. You need to have good quality control. If you don't have good quality control, then it's an issue. They had that whole fiasco over CBCS with that signature that was allegedly sent into them, and it was a fake signature and it got passed. I'm not sure 100% if that's true or if it's false or if it was just an error. There is human error, guys. And that could happen with any grading company. I like CBCS when buying personal stuff. You know what? Here's the thing. If I could get a copy, two like copies, I'm going to be honest with you, the way I buy, just for holding resale value. If I could get two copies of the same comic at the same grade, at the same price, I'll probably pick up the CGC version just because the public mentality as far as that is concerned. However, if I find it right now at a lower price, I will pick up the CBCS every day, all day. Why? Because I feel at some point down the line, it will catch up. It will actually get back where it should be and be a competitive, viable other solution to CGC. That's my belief. And I feel that all the slabs that I get at CBCS right now that are at maybe a discount from what a CGC slab would be are great investments because I feel that it will catch up sooner or later. Now, as far as grading is concerned, I haven't really sent a lot of stuff out to grade. Right now, I have two books that are currently out that I sent through my LCS. They went in through CGC, and I'm waiting for them to come back. They've only been there for about 7 months. So I can't be asking for them to actually come back in a reasonable time. But when they come back, I want to see how they graded because I sent two books in that I'm pretty on target. I'm pretty sure I know what the grade should come back at. One of them should come back at a 9.8, and the other one I really think should come back between a 6.5 and a 7. I'm not going to say the books because I'll do unboxing and everything like that when I get them and tell you guys what the books were and the whole process and the whole nine. But based on how those come back to me, then I'll know how to be able to go back forward because I have a stack of books that are ready for grading. And I have a few really, really high-end books that I really want to get graded. One because I want to get them graded so that I have a timestamp of what their evaluation were, just in case tomorrow, knock on wood, I'm not here, and my kids get all my stuff, and my wife gets my stuff, and they don't know what the evaluations are, and they don't know how to be able to price them. I want to at least use those as guidelines. I got an X-Men #1 that I want to get graded. 1963 X-Men 1 is worth some money, even in a low grade, which I have it in a low grade. It's probably going to come in somewhere between, honestly, probably somewhere between a 0.5 and a 1.5. I don't know how bad they'll hit me. But either way, it's an expensive book. So I have books like that I want to put in the timestamp. One, to preserve them in a case, and two, to have a form of appraisal for my kids to be able to know what they're inheriting or they're getting from me, in case they ever have to sell it. And the other thing, for insurance purposes, it will make my life a lot easier as well. So that being said, I really want to send some books out to get graded. But, I don't want to keep my books there forever. That's another thing. If they take weeks just to open up your box and acknowledge that they received your box, that for me is a problem. That for me is a very big problem. And I don't understand why people are not as uptight about it as I am. I've seen people get upset about it, and with their right to be upset. But I don't think they're upset enough. I've heard horror stories of people getting their books damaged or lost even. I'd lose my mind. I would lose my mind. I'm actually going to be submitting a few books to EGS as well, Six Face. And what I want to call those books that I want to submit are almost like vanity books for myself. Books that I have a personal love for. They might not have very high value, but I would love to see them encapsulated with a really nice custom label on them. And I think they will make me happy to display them in that format. So I am going to be sending a few books like that into EGS. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been really busy. Maybe I'll do that later on tonight, tomorrow, like start actually taking it seriously and do something like that, because that's something I've been wanting to do. So as you can see, I don't draw very fast. You have some other guys that they are, excellent. They're like, and all of a sudden you got this thing that's amazing. For me personally, maybe it's because I'm sitting there rambling and like losing my train of thought while I'm doing it. But for me personally, it's not easy to do like a lot of the great stuff that other artists do that come naturally to them. With this guy, these kind of sketches, because one, it's not something that I do every day, and I'm trying more and more to get myself more into it, because I am working on putting together my own comic, and in order to do that, I have to at least have somewhat acceptable art. I'm never going to pretend that I am a premier artist in any way whatsoever, but I hope to at least have art that is acceptable and that will be presented in a way, presentable in a way where people can understand what is being presented to them, without having to struggle. And if I could get that, that is the most important thing for me. Because if I could achieve having acceptable, legible type of art in my sketches, then the first part of my process is done, is complete. Because the plan is, I want to. You need to be writing. Are you a writer, Six Face? Because that's the other component of the comic that I'm doing as well. Um, I'm actually writing the book myself as well. And here's the plan. The plan is to put out a few issues, self-publish them, see if the public likes them, if there's enough interest in them to want to continue. And if they do want me to continue and they do like it, then I hope at that point somebody with true artistic talent, somebody that is a great artist, a great sketch artist, a great illustrator, will work with me to do future issues and continue the work. And then I could concentrate on the creative process of writing it and storylines. That's the plan. But for the first few issues, at least the very first issue, the plan is to do everything by myself. I'm going to do the art, the writing, the lettering, the any inking and coloring, all by myself. And if I accomplish that in a somewhat acceptable uh, way, then I will be very happy. And that's my plan. I wrote a lot of poetry in my youth. That's great. You should continue to write poetry. Poetry is a fundamental part of our lives. Honestly, there's some poems that stay with me forever, and I think these are the type of written elements that we are taking for granted a lot of times. Poetry is a great thing, and you should keep a very good journal with all your poems. I'm right. I am wrote for a small paper in college. Oh, you wrote for a small paper in college. And yes, it is a project. It is a project. It is an undertaking. A lot of people are telling me I'm nuts for trying to do this. And yeah, maybe I am. But I don't mind it. That's my thing. I sometimes I do crazy things, but not for anything. I wouldn't have gone back into this if it wasn't for my kids. My kids would grab my old sketchbooks. They found my old comics. They got me back into the hobby and kind of egged me on to actually doing something again. Because that was one of the things I wanted to do when I was a kid. Just never did it. So I want to do this for not only myself, but I also want to do this to show my kids that once you set out to do something, do it. Whether it succeeds, whether it fails, just do it. You know, almost like a Nike, just do it. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now on that. And I will do it. I promise you. I don't know how long it'll take me. I'm hoping to be done in this millennium. That's the plan. But I will do it. They are a fun family bonding thing. Six Face. They are. They really are. You know, it's. I feel personally, I could bond with my kids, and I feel it's a much better outlet than just sitting in front of a TV screen and watching just stuff over and over again. I will get them involved. Actually, they're watching me as I go through the process. My daughter actually is very talented. She does some great art, you know, and for her skill set, I mean, she's 12 years old. My son's 14. He's got a very cartoony style to his art, very Scotty Youngish, that kind of a thing. Well, actually, not even Scotty Youngish, kind of like Rick and Morty ish kind of artwork, and he actually likes a lot of the anime style stuff. So, you know, they're seeing me draw, they're seeing me do stuff like this, and I think it's getting them a little bit more motivated to like do their own little projects, which is nice. It's fun, you know. And like I said, it takes them away from like a lot of the other stuff that honestly for me is a waste. Like, you know, I watch TV, I watch movies, you know, I watch cartoons, whatever. But I don't sit for hours upon hours and hours in front of a screen and forget other things. You know, at least when you're reading a comic and you're textually holding it and reading it and taking in that information, your brain's working in a different way. It's not mindless. You're gravitating. You're reading this. So the same way is that when you read a novel, you're taking in all those images. You're taking in all that writing at the same time. You're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You're making yourself a type of uh, story that makes you the tactile experience cannot be overlooked. Yeah, it can't be overlooked. It's all part of the story. I don't know if I'm articulating this in the best way, but for me personally, the smells from, especially if you open an old vintage book, the smells that it has, the texture of the paper, reading it, to see how it was all put together, the significance, the social aspects to when that story was written. There's so many different things that are involved when you're reading a comic or a graphic novel that I think are getting lost more and more, and that's why I'm not a huge proponent of digital copies. I'm just not. You know, it's nice to have an archive of digital copies, especially if there's a lot of books that you can't have in your collection and you just want to read them. That's great. That's a great archive. That's a great place to go and find them and read and catch up. And let's say there's a specific character that you've been trying to read up everything you can about, but obviously the budget doesn't cover you on all the books that it takes to read all the storylines. Yeah, that's where it helps. But if you if you have the ability, if you're having even a few books in your hands, 5, 10, 20, 30 books in your hands, and read them over and over again, and go, even if you go into a dollar bin somewhere, or some places even still have 50 cents in quarter bins. Not here in New York, but some places even have that. Go get a few books from there, read them. It's a different experience altogether. It really is. And I try as much as I can to get my kids to understand that. My son, he's pretty good with that, with the reading. He likes the reading. Thank goodness. He loves reading. He enjoys himself. He reads the comics, he reads books, he reads everything. My daughters, not so much. They're not so interested. We'll get there. We'll get there, I guess, at one point or another. Looks like I'm making this Lobo pretty damn deranged right now. It's all right, because Lobo's supposed to be deranged. This character is probably one of the most neglected, probably one of the most neglected characters in the entire DC universe. They could have done so much with this character. And why they don't, you tell me. Wondering what everybody's doing to this weekend for Labor's Day. For Labor Day, it's unofficially the last weekend of the summer. I say unofficially because we don't have the end of summer until September 21st. But everybody always holds Labor Day weekend as the end. The end. The end. Well, I don't know. I don't know how great of summer everybody had. I don't. I didn't. I honestly didn't have that great of a summer. I don't know. Things just don't feel the same way since our lockdowns and everything took place. There's so many. We still have so many restrictions that we're living with. You know, cautious. We all cautious, trying to live in this weird environment and world that we have. And personally, you know, I'm kind of fatigued. So I don't know if I had necessarily had a great summer. I don't think I did. I didn't feel like it was a great summer for me. But it is what it is. You know, we'll get past it. All right, I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to get there. Starting to come together. Starting to get there slowly but surely. Looks like a lot of people aren't on tonight. Okay. I don't know. Maybe next time I do this kind of thing, maybe I'll start playing some music. Maybe I'll get another 100 copyright strikes by doing that. YouTube world loves giving me copyright strikes. like I said, slowly but surely, it's coming together. Now, if it's going to be good, that's a different story. I don't know if it's going to be good. It's not coming out exactly the way I wanted it to. Like I said, I'm not trying to mimic. I'm not trying to mimic Simon Beasley's art. I'm homaging it in the best way I can for a private sketch. I can't even pretend to be on the same level as Mr. Beasley. He's actually one of my favorite artists of all time. And the last thing I want to do is insult him. So, just so if anybody's watching this on a replay and hasn't fallen asleep yet, or anybody's still on watching right now, is watching, these are the kind of sketches that I am going to be including on the giveaways that I do. Um, I'm going to be having a comic and then have a cut out page in the size of a backboard with a sketch on it that's somehow relating to the comic that I'm giving out on every giveaway. So I think people can actually get a little piece of me and a comic at the same time. It's only for the people that would want that anyway. You know, some people have no interest in that kind of stuff. Like I said earlier, this is hard to do from this angle. I usually draw like this. This is usually my ideal way to draw, like slightly angled. I draw it and then I bring everything front and then sideways, front and sideways. That's how I usually draw in order to try to get this all together. Okay. Something's happening with this thing. The other thing, this medium that I'm using is kind of tough. Yeah, I think that's what I need, an over the shoulder stand. I probably didn't think this out too well when I started it. But that's a thought that was going through my mind as well, over the shoulder stand or something like that, to kind of like zoom in over my, back as I'm drawing. Probably that would have been the best thing to do. Probably. Mistake. It was, mistakes we learn. We learn. We learn. I'll probably have a ton of horrible streams. You got a song for me? What's the song? What song is that? The When the Summer Dies. When the Summer Dies. Who sings that? Six Face? Who sings When the Summer Dies? Well, I'm not going to say it was a bad summer. I'm not going to say it was bad summer. I just don't feel like it was a great summer, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to say it was bad. Last year was bad. Actually, last year was miserable. This year wasn't bad. It was just like, I just feel a little Lights and Dead Mount. All right, let's find Lights and Dead Mount When the Summer Dies. Let's see. I'm going to try to find this on my phone. Let's get ourselves a copyright strike. That's a great thing about running a channel, that you don't care if you're monetized or not. And you're just doing it for the hell of it. You don't care if you get the copyright strikes. When the Summer Dies. Summer Dies. All right, I think I found it. Let's see. No, any cursing in here? Six Face.
Welcome to Liberty University.
Oh, we got a welcome to Liberty University.
What we train to do. We're protecting
Dead Mouse Lights. When the Summer Dies. So this is like a techno song. Okay. That's interesting. It's got like, look at this. I got the video up for it. Look at this video. I don't know about the summer dying, but this thing is going to make me die if it keeps going. It's not. This is actually a more upbeat thing. Oh, okay. All right. Well, so we got some beats. There you go. We got some music now. Sounds like something straight out of one of these old techno rave parties I used to go to in the 90s, early 2000s. Is that still a thing? Electronic music and all that stuff? Oh, I'm definitely getting hit with a copyright. I'm letting the whole play thing play out. Sing along. Hang with DJ, play pretend. Burn the city, fuck your friends and sing along. Sing along. So hang with DJ, play pretend. Burn the city, fuck your friends and sing along. Sing along. Hang with DJ, play pretend. See, I'm going in with a more sharpened pencil with a darker type of lead on it, just to start refining everything, because I was doing everything else with a lighter lead. That's a big, that's Dead Mouse image thing. Oh yeah, that is still a big thing. Oops, there is cursing. Oh, whatever. I probably talked over it. What age group are you in? Sixth grade. You don't have to tell me your exact age, but like, what generation are you? Just curious. You don't sound like you're a millennial to me. Yeah. Play, pretend, burn the city, F your friends. Elder millennial. So you gotta be in your late 30s. That makes sense. 42. Are you really a millennial or are you a Gen Xer? I'm 44 and I'm a Gen Xer. I think you're more of a Gen Xer than a millennial. You're on neither? But the fact that you're 42 kind of makes me understand more of why we're thinking along the same lines with a lot of the stuff that we've been chatting about. You know, it looks like every generation, every age group has their own mindsets on every different way of approaching things. See, it's starting somewhat to come together. Got a lot of friends from both.
Light is a mold making and casting company. It's been around.
Well, you are something, whether you want to choose one or not. You are something. You're either going to be a millennial or a Gen Xer. You got to be something. Let's find another song to play. What am I going to play now? Let me play. Well, let me see. What am I going to play? What song do I play? What other copyright strike should I get now? You know what? I'm going to play Hotel California. Why? Because it's, a little nuts of a song. Actually, no. I found a better song. Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love Red Hot Chili Peppers, by the way. There are 3 years that not in either. I guess you're not in either, I guess. I'm the fencers, I guess. Anybody else Red Hot Chili Peppers fans? Because they are definitely one of my favorite bands. Especially one of the bands that were around in full blast when I was listening when I was a teenager and going through high school and that kind of thing. It's understood that Hollywood's a Californication. This came out a little later on, Californication, but I love this stuff. Z ends in 77. Millennial starts in 81. I give up. Now we're adding Z's in the mix. I miss the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know if they even make any more. X. All right. Now it makes sense. Yeah. I was at the tail end. I was the end of the X generation, Generation X. What do you think? Is this thing slightly starting to come together? A little bit? Slightly starting to come together? Maybe? A little bit? I don't know. I'm going to keep refining it. I probably won't torture everybody by finishing it completely on the stream. Otherwise, I might be here for days. But I will, when I'm done with it, make sure that I either put it on a video or post it on Instagram for people to see the final version of it. Thank you, Six Face. Any other music requests? What am I gonna find? Let me find something cool. Ooh, anybody like The Cure? I used to love The Cure. There was a song by Cure that not a lot of people know about, unless you like The Cure. I'm gonna play that one. No Cure? So depressing? All right, I won't get you depressed. Let me put a happy song on. What can we find that's happy? No depressing music. Ooh. I know something. I don't know if you're a fan or not, but whether you're a fan of him or not a fan of him, one thing universally accepted is he's got some great music that he made over the years. And it's happy. A lot of stuff is happy. This has always been something that perked me up when I was listening to it. Like I said, whether you like the guy or not like the guy made some great music. I think he's in a place where his soul can finally rest, because the guy was disturbed all his years of life. The Michael Jackson story is actually a really interesting story. You could actually write a whole comic book based on that character. My wife is definitely a millennial. I was building computers and in my bedroom at age 14. That's funny, because I actually used to do that too. Back when people were buying clones of IBMs and they were super expensive to buy brand new, I would go get the parts and either upgrade computers for people or build them from scratch using the old OEMs. Wow, that's interesting. I used to do that too. You know, this is definitely going to get a copyright strike now. If I didn't push my luck before, I definitely push my luck now with this one. My family had a Trash 80. A Trash 80? What's Trash 80? Trash 80.
Just remember to always think twice. Don't think twice. She told my baby there's the three. She looked at me and showed a photo. Baby cried, his eyes would like mine. Go dance on the floor in the round, baby. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts.
Oh, Tandy. See, there was actually an Atari ST 80 as well. If you even know about those. So I wasn't sure which 80 trash one you were talking about. Yeah, the Tandys were. Yeah. You know what? They did their job. They were pretty crappy, but they did their job. Yeah, well, floppy drives, yeah. That was what it was all about back then. And so many companies try to get into that arena. Gateway, if you remember them, Dell got into that, cloning those computers. There was so many companies out there. Kind of wish I went outside of my garage or my basement and built more of them. Maybe I could have built a huge empire computer company like they did. I only applied myself. So this is basically my process. I got Mega Man to play on it, and it ran one frame every second or two. You know? Yeah, well, be happy you had a game. You know? In the beginning, I didn't even have any games. I had this stupid thing called Spelling Bee that was amusing me. As you could tell from the title, it wasn't really fun. But when you didn't have anything else, you know,
Next round on me.
that was all right. But you know, I started getting good. I started picking up a lot of parts. I would find like people's like thrown away computers and rip them apart and take everything I needed. It was an interesting time. Like if you knew a little bit about it, you could actually put together a nice little business. You know, and as a teenager, I was able to make a lot of side money doing that. What are we gonna play now? What are we gonna play? What are we gonna play? What are we gonna play? No requests, huh? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I got one. I found drugs and tuned in, tuned out, and dropped out. You know, there was a lot of people that got caught up in drugs, especially um, back in those years. Unfortunately, glad you're doing better now, though. Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker. Let me find Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker.
Alright, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but yo, I'm making money, see? So yo, world, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round. I'm the new
All right, is this like a very is this one PG rated or not? The Sophie Tucker Purple Hat.
The answer is that was amazing.
Let's see what we got. Never heard of this song before.
Purple hat, cheetah print, dancing on the people, rolled up at the after joint, dancing on the people dancing on the people. I got people on the people dancing on the people, with the people on the people, smoking CO2. See me, see you dancing on the people, climb up on the booth, hanging from the people on the people. My head hits the roof, dancing on the
This one's
on the
interesting.
people. I got people on the people, dancing on the people. I got purple hat, cheetah print, dancing on the people, rolled up at the after joint, dancing on the people dancing on the people.
Never heard of this one before.
People dancing on the people, with the people on the people, smoking CO2. See me, see you dancing on the people, climb up on the booth, hanging from the people on the people. My head hits the roof, dancing on the ceiling on the people. I got people on the dancing on the people. I got people.
Everybody in the booth can tell myself apart from you. Now the word dancing, people dancing, people dancing, people dancing,
The father of LSD. Drugs saved me, and then tuned in, tuned out, and dropped out. Never heard of Timothy Leary. But you know what? You piqued my curiosity. I'm going to look him up.
Everybody in the booth can
It's a pretty good song.
myself apart from you. Now the word dancing, people dancing, people dancing, people dancing, people.
I did watch many people get sucked into meth and opioids. It was a psych out. Well, where I grew up, heroin was definitely around. You did have a lot of coke. You also did have a lot of acid, a lot of LSD going on. That was actually the number one choice for a lot of the kids. The cheapest form, actually, the LSD was definitely something you were seeing more and more. And I'll be quiet, Google commercial. I've probably seen that commercial a million times. It's driving me nuts. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there. Like I said, it's a process. I'm also not like really concentrating as much as I should be because I'm having so much fun chatting with you. Leary may have also been a CIA agent. Some deep rabbit holes there. Timothy is almost single. handily responsible for LSD counterculture that spawned in the California in the 60s. Definitely seems like a guy that is worth reading about. You know, LSD, I don't know if a lot of people know this, was actually used by the government as a form of getting information out of the enemy, freaking enemies out. A lot of people don't realize that. And there was actually other uses that LSD had that the government used. You get into a whole different topic altogether on that. Somewhat looking like a Lobo, I guess. Somewhat, maybe. Somewhat starting to look like a Lobo, maybe. You gotta make sure you got some crazy hair going on with this guy. It's probably, one of his signatures, his crazy hair. A lot of people, for some reason, love to make the comparison between Lobo and Wolverine. Yeah, he got crazy hair. He smoked a cigar. Oh, you do recognize it. Good. Awesome. Thank you, Sick Pay. It makes me feel better because sometimes, my mistake is I should have actually took the comic out and looked at it. I'm doing all of memory. But I kind of do that purposely so I don't allow myself to start copying. I want to give my impression to it, and when I have something that I'm looking at subconsciously, I feel like I accidentally copy things more than give my own spin to them. What I'll probably do is when I'm done with the initial part of it, I will probably grab the comic and just take a look at it just in case I'm missing anything critical as far as the essentials of the character that are missing. Like if I did something wrong with the eyes, and I think I got the mustache and the eyes all in place properly. I think that's all there. At the same time, I don't want to go too heavy on this because I'm not sure if I'm going to be inking it or doing it all by pencil. Because I'm going to add a little color to it. I'm going to make sure I add a little bit of blacks and a little bit of the reds in there. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll go the blue routes to give them the hinted blue skin tone, bluish white skin tone. I'm not sure yet how I want to go about it. I might start with the blacks and the whites and the reds, and then depending on how that comes together, I'll make a decision if going to be getting more intense. But I think it's somewhat recognizable, and that was the intention of the stream, to actually start putting something together that starts looking recognizable to everybody from the beginning stage. It's starting to get there. To start getting there, and I'm not gonna stream all the way through the whole process, because I promise you it'll be a long process. This is a bigger sketch. This is a 16 by 17 sketch, and I want it to be done right. I don't want to rush it. So I am going to continue this probably off camera, and after I'm done, like I said, I'll either do a follow-up video, or I'll snap a picture and send it up on IG. If you're ever looking for me up on Instagram, my handle is New Comic Journey. There, just in case you couldn't find me, I'm not only Comic Journey there, I'm New Comic Journey there, because somebody apparently had taken my handle before I got it, and I had already made the channel, so I wasn't going to go backwards. I had to figure out what to do to keep as consistent as possible with all my social media. So that being said, I'm going to sign off. Six Face, I really appreciate the chat. I had a lot of fun talking with you, or talking to your text dialogue. This part of the process of making videos, and the community that I love the most, getting to interact with people I never would have in the past. So I absolutely love that. Appreciate everything, all your contributions, and your insight, and at the same time giving me somebody to talk to instead of just talking to myself. So I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to sign off now. Thanks for following. So anytime you want to DM me there or chat, whatever the case is, send me a message. I have a fair amount of followers. Oh, do you do? All right, so we'll connect on there too as well. Have a great day. Like I said, I appreciate it. To the next video, I guess. You keep collecting, and I'll keep recollecting, and I'll keep drawing. And hopefully I'll be done soon. But till then, have a great one. Thanks for watching, everyone.